Gentlemen, welcome. Let me turn to you, Simeon, and let you go first. This is a beaten down stock. Sometimes when the stock gets pummeled, as it has, is it time to go in and scoop up some shares? You say no.
Good to see you all. So Tyler, you called it BlackBerry. Other people have called it GoPro. I don't know that I would think it's either of the two. I think it's a great product. I think they've told a great story, and I think there's a great community. I think the question becomes, what's that worth? And I think conversations that we've had on this program have shown that the numbers just argued for a much smaller company. And if we think about it, right, to your point about the NASDAQ, we think about it, it's still over $10 billion market cap company for a company that has now, call it 2.5 million people through the best possible environment they have. So easy answer from us is no. Still think there's downward pressure. And I will hand the mic over.
So Simeon basically, Dan, says this is a smallish company being accorded a valuation and being treated like a large company. Do you see his point there and make the case why you think the stock can go higher from here?
Well, I have enormous respect for Simeon. However, I disagree wholeheartedly. And on valuation, I would point out two things. One, if you look at the multiple on a forward EV to sales basis, it's gone from 10 times 12 months ago to 2 times today. Valuation is really discounting the worst case scenario in our view right now. And then the second thing is, if you look at valuation maybe more on a sum of the parts basis, separate the equipment business from the subscription business and just focus on subscriptions. The subscription business alone at $42 a month times 2.5 million subs that they ended last quarter with, you get to 1.3 billion in revenues on an annual basis at a 70% margin. That implies substantial upside, basically, ascribing a multiple that would be more akin to a Netflix. So $80 a share is our estimate just for that business. And if you fast forward a year from now, when they'll have 3.4 million subscribers, ascribing the same 30x multiple, you get to $110.
I'm going to ask Simeon to respond, but I guess my basic question for you, Dan, is so why? Everybody knows what those numbers you just cited are. You can do the math on the subscription model and the price per subscriber, and you can look out and you can see equipment sales and so forth. So why, other than the fact that it was a pandemic darling, has the stock fallen 80%?
Well, they had disappointing earnings last quarter and lowered their outlook. And the quarter before, they lowered the price of the bike. I think that caught investors off guard, just considering that up until that point, it had been a consistent beat and raise story ever since they've gone public, since the IPO. I think the narrative has certainly shifted, but you got to look at the fundamentals, and on a fundamental basis, both in terms of valuation and then also what we're seeing in the data. And most recently, we came out with a research note overnight, which looked at App Store rankings on iOS and Instagram followership, and it's showing a pivotal point, an upward inflection in terms of user engagement. And so we think that this could be the quarter where the narrative shifts back to positive.